Oh, yeah, I think that's powerful though. Death is a pretty powerful thing. Birth and death, you know, so yeah. Alright, take care. Bye, spell work. Okay. And we're in eclipse season too. So even just talking about death now, we're in eclipse season. We're coming up to a solar eclipse, and the soul is all about our sun. The sun is our soul, solar eclipse. And it's in Scorpio, and that's on I think it's the 21st, 23rd of October. It must be should tie in with where are we, October, so maybe 21st. We'll get to that anyway. So eclipses eclipse things in and out of our life, and because it's in Scorpio represents transformation, change, death, rebirth, all those things. It can bring the death of things or people or situations in our life that are to do with our soul and our soul purpose, and it can be souls moving on and things like that too. It's a portal and energy period where it makes it easier. The veil is lifted, especially in Scorpio, for souls to transition over. Very hard to cope first thing I think of in the morning, last at night. All right, take care. Yeah, of course. It's always that, you know, having to part with that physical energy of someone, not the, you know, spirit and whatnot, just that physical energy. Hi, Sister Blue, how are you? So, I say so a lot, don't I? Okay, and I've got to work on that. I always say that though. Okay. So the moon is currently in Sag, 26 degrees, so getting towards those end degrees, and then we'll move into Capricorn, and then we'll move into Aquarius and follow around the chart, as you can see here. So the moon for that eclipse too coming has to get all the way back around now to Scorpio up here, so it's got a whole other cycle basically. And we are in October in Libra season, so we just had a new moon in Libra, and then it will be the full moon in Scorpio. So moons come in pairs and themes and that. So like if we're looking at the sun is in the sign the sun is in, that will be where the new moon is, and then the opposite sign will be where that full moon is, because the full moon is when they are in an opposition. The new moon is when they've come together for creation, to manifest together. So that's why full moons can be more intense, because there's the opposite energy, so we can have opposition, so more fights, more riled up energy, that sort of thing. Oh, I'm glad you're good, Sister Blue. I'm good, thank you. Hey, Yosh, what are you doing? Trying to think I had so much I wanted to talk about, but it's like, where do I even start? Because there's so much going on. Okay, so let's just like talk about some things. So for the next 6 months, so between now and March, so much is going to happen in the astrology, which means so much is going to happen in our lives, as above, so below. So whatever we are going through and dealing with over this next is it 6 months? When do we got March? So pretty much, yeah, just under 6 months. It will be life changing, and will shift and change things within us, and then we'll see externalize outside outside us as well, because of all the planetary shifts and changes and energies. Hey Josh, what are you doing? You want to come up? Come here. Oh, come here. Okay, so so today we have Mercury currently stationing. So we've just had Mercury retrograde. We have Mercury retrograde 3 to 4 times a year. It's pretty standard, and Mercury rules our communication, our thoughts, our thought processes, our writing, information, our networking and sharing and that sort of thing can also represent like marketing and like selling and sales, that sort of stuff as well with Mercury. It rules electronics and cars and technology and things like that. So during a Mercury retrograde, when things go into review, rethinking, reevaluating, any kind of retrogrades are when the planet's going more internal, and it's more an internal retrospective time for that planet's energy. So again, because it's Mercury, it's all about communication, thoughts, all that stuff. So during a Mercury retrograde, it's never advised to, sign contracts and to make any like decisions, like hard decisions, or to buy any new things, or to travel too far or too much because of the issues that can come up, delays, situations that cutie. So the Mercury retrograde started in Libra at, I think it was about 6 degrees or something, Libra, and it's retrograded back. It's gone through 2 signs back from Libra. So Libra here in the chart up here. So from Libra, it's retrograded back into Virgo. So Mercury's currently sitting here at 20 stationed. So you see the little S there, it's stationed. Mercury's currently stationed and sitting at 24 degrees of Virgo. So station means it's stopped, stationary, and it's about to turn again and then start to go forward. So from Earth's perspective, the planets are never actually traveling backwards. Nothing travels backwards. Everything's continuing to move forward. It's just from our perspective from Earth that Mercury seems to be going backwards because it's the, again, perspective. So it's like the best way to explain it is how the Leo King taught me many, many years ago was that when you're driving in a car and you're coming up next to another car and then you start to overpass them and it looks like they're starting to go backwards as they pull away, but it's just the speed and the perspective and whatever. So that's the same with the planets when they're in retrograde. They're just slowing down. They're not actually going backwards. So Mercury has slowed down. It's about to speed up again technically, so and start to look like it's moving forward again, and will pass over the Earth, or just pass through the sun, we'll not see it going backwards anymore basically. So Mercury retrograde in Libra, starting in Libra, was a chance for us to reevaluate, rethink, review things coming up from the past in regards to relationships, how we relate with others, and about and because we're talking about communication and our thoughts and thought processes, it's like trying to find that balance as well and how we relate and within our relationships. And then with that retrograde moving back into Virgo, it then highlights the energy of where we have problems or where there needs some kind of fixing or some kind of solutions in our relationships, or with our communication, with our plans, anything like that. And also where we, because Virgo energy is so much about being of service, so where we're showing up and doing too much or not doing enough, or not being enough service to ourselves, to our own detriment, looking after our health and our well-being, having healthy routines, that sort of thing has come up as well, could have come up for you. So now Mercury is stationed in that Virgo energy. It can be highlighting for us what things need fixing in our life, what things can't be fixed, what things need a new solution, and then, what things need to be left in the past, maybe. Conversations, situations, ideas that aren't going to work anymore, old patterns and ways of thinking, any kind of critical or harsh or perfectionist behavior, leaving that sort of thing behind so that we can move forward into a more balanced state of that Libra energy, being in more peace and harmony within our minds, our thoughts, our communications, and within relationships and relating to others and our business contracts and business partnerships. Are you reading charts or just astro weather? Yeah, I'm going to read some charts a bit later. So I might be chatting for a while because I want to talk about all the different changing energies that are happening. Like there's a fair bit just in October to talk about. But yes, then I'm going to do some readings of personal charts. Skate Punk. I hope you're well. Skate Punk as well. Thanks for coming by. Okay. So that's the Mercury retrograde energy. So Mercury's stationing. So Mercury's about to go forward. So this is when it's at its most potent, when it's stationing. So right now it's stationing. Let's just move. Let's go by a day. Move the chart forward a day. It's still stationing. So we've got a whole nother day of this. And then it leaves and starts to move forward that stationing position. So a whole nother day at least of this stationing energy when it's the most intense. And that's when we're going to get the most revelations or information come through maybe about, what we need to fix or those sorts of things that came up, or the perfection, all those sorts of things. So it's like the clarity can now come through. It may not be right in this stationing. It may be feeling the most intense parts of what we've been rethinking, reevaluating, those things coming up to the surface even more so that they're in your face and there's that awareness. All the solutions and ideas and epiphanies and that sort of thing could be coming through now. If not, then they will start to, as it starts to move forward, because we've got that Mercury retrograde is a long period. It's a 2-week shadow period and a 3-week retrograde, another 2-week shadow period. So we still have more of this Mercury retrograde energy until it gets back to, let's have a look, the point of where it started to retrograde, which I think was about 6 degrees of Libra. So we can see exact if we go back. Let's have a quick check. So let's go back a week. So 5 degrees retrograde there. 8. Oh, sorry, it's even further. 8 degrees it's stationed. Perfect. There we go. So 8 degrees in Libra, Mercury stationed on the 11th of September. So those themes since the 11th of September that have been coming up in your life of reevaluation, rethinking, of things of the past, relationships from the past could have come up, people from the past, the way we relate to others, our thoughts, our mindset, and our mindset around relationships and things like that could have been a big thing that's come up. It's like if you're always negative about, I'm never going to find anyone, or I'll never have the perfect relation, especially perfect relationship, or the perfect person, or this or that, any of that sort of shit that can come up, basically. That's the sort of thing, like, where it's been in review, rethinking. It's like changing that mindset, changing that thinking, and putting only that positive energy out there that's going to attract and bring you what you want, because we are talking about Libra energy too, where the retrograde started, and it's ruled by Venus, and Venus is all about that attraction energy. And the ruler of, that retrograde energy, the start of it, is Venus, and Venus is there. We can see here at 7 degrees on the 11th of September. That was Venus has now moved forward now. So if we go back to, so we're going forward now to find that 8 degrees. Oops, I've gone too far. Doing weeks, not days. I need to slow down. Gone way too far. Come back, Mercury. 7 degrees. Let's go forward a day. 8 degrees. There we go. So the 17th of October, that shadow period ends. So we've still got that energy coming up for us over this next, well, that's like 2 weeks basically, the shadow, where we will can start to take action and start to move forward on the ideas, the information that's come up, the epiphanies, the revelations, any of those sorts of things around all those themes. We can start to make the changes and start to make the plans and implement the ideas and share the information, or whatever it is, basically. Learn the new skill, whatever it is. Commit to sign the new contract, make the deal, whatever it is. So those things can start to cute, that little emote. Those things can start to happen now and start to get more momentum in that again. So just looking at my other cat, sorry. Okay, so what else is important to talk about now? So that's what we're currently experiencing, that Mercury retrograde energy. And is there anything else I want to say about that? Oh, I was saying about Venus, sorry. So Venus being in that Virgo energy too. So if we go back to today, where is Venus currently? Oh, Venus has already moved into Libra. That's right. But so let's talk about that as well. Let's go back to today, 2nd October. Here we go. All right. So Venus has now moved into Libra. So when Venus is in Virgo, Venus was, again, it was very much about that. What do I need to fix in my life to bring me more pleasure, to bring me more love? What problems do I need to solve? Where am I being too petty or harsh or critical? Any of those things could have come up too within my relationships and my values and my money and finances too. So it's like was helping us to get more organized with like our money and finances as well, and get more on top of things and be a bit more thrifty with our spending and stuff like that. However, now Venus has moved into Libra. Venus is home signs are Libra and Taurus. So Venus does best in, not best, but Venus loves to be in those signs. So she's not exalted there, but exalted is where she's in an extreme, but she's in her most comfortable positions and where she's her natural state. So when she's in Taurus, it's the feminine energy, the earthy energy, the fixed energy of that earth sign, Taurus. And then when she's in Libra, it's an air energy, it's a cardinal, it's moving, it's lots of energy. So it's air and it's cardinal energy. So it's in a sense, the air sparking the fire or giving the fire, the fire giving, Venus giving, I guess. So it's like the fire getting air. That's what I'm trying to say. The fire getting air, so it's like can get moving, get things happening. So Venus in Libra. So Venus is all about our love, our pleasure. It's our love language. It's our pleasure. It's our values. It's our finances and our money as well. Our relationships, all of that stuff she interacts with, and how we attract those things. And in Libra, she's more dominant and more she can be more vocal and communicative about those things because it is that air sign energy too. And she can be more, I guess, that air energy is expressive, I guess, of because she can socialize and communicate more and get out there and reach more people in a sense and attract more relationships and all that in that sign. But it can also be where she's more indulgent and more lazy and wants to be pampered and stuff like that. That Venusian energy. So where that Libra Venus energy is in our chart, it's because the sun is there in Libra at the moment. That's where we're going to be feeling that energy. So for myself, that's in my first house. I'm actually a Virgo rising, but I use Placidus techniques or Placidus charts, which is like this, where it's 1 degree of Virgo is not the first house. The first house is where the ecliptic is and where it's falling. And for me, that's 27 degrees of Virgo. So most of my first house is Libra energy, which is so like Mercury is quite close to my ascendant right now, quite close to being on my ascendant. Oh, sorry, 23 degree ascendant, sorry. So it's on the other side. So it's in my first house. 23, oh, that's so bad. I get confused, 23, 27. No, my sun's 23, it's 27, sorry, my 27 degrees. So it's actually in my 12th house, Mercury, and then moving back into my first house, that retrograde. So Venus and the sun being in my first house, and the first house is who you're about, what you're about, who you are, the way you're presenting yourself. It's basically a big part of how you're interacting with the world. It's pretty much like everything of you, because it's you. It's the final. It's the very first area of your life and sets up your whole chart and all that. So it can affect any area of your life basically. It's going to affect the themes of that energy, which is like we're talking about Venus and the Sun, and we're talking about Libra. So it's going to, help me to maybe beautify my environment more or myself, or help me to relax more, indulge more, see more of the pleasurable things in life, to help me to connect and tune into more of my values and my self-worth and confidence, and what that means to me. And come here, Yosh, let me wipe your nose. You just sneezed. Oh, you've got a little bit of snot in your nose. There you go. Yeah, so depending on what area it falls in your chart, like if it was falling in your 4th house, then you'd be feeling, wanting to probably spend more time at home with family and experience more pleasures of being at home. So it could be like eating more and cooking more, or getting more takeaway and stuff like that, or sleeping, relaxing and sleeping more. And not so much sleeping, because it's 4th house isn't necessarily sleeping, but it's like just being more in your environment, or like more self-care and stuff like that, and taking care of your self, because that 4th house is also, can represent where we nurture and care for ourselves, where we mother ourselves as well. So those sorts of things can be important. Or the 4th house for Venus and Libra, that Venus energy and Libra energy there, if it was for you, then it could be you so you thinking more about your values when it comes to like your home and your property and where you live and stuff like that. So it's like if you're living somewhere that isn't quite in alignment with your values, then you might be thinking about moving or changing where you live so that it is more in alignment with those Libra Venusian values for you. So having lots of like peace and harmony at home, having somewhere that is pleasurable to go to, somewhere that's maybe beautiful, your space, someone's a 4th house Libra, which would be a Cancer, a Gemini rising, no, it's Cancer rising, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's right, yeah, Cancer rising, would need that beautiful space, or that really creative artistic space that they live in, somewhere that they like make their own artistic flair or something like that. They beautify their space in some way. Okay, so now I feel like I need to sneeze, Yosh. Maybe it's something in the room making us both a bit sneezy. Okay, so that's where Venus has moved into that energy, and the Sun is currently there for it's at 8 degrees the Sun, so it's got another 22 degrees in that sign, in the Sun. So that Libra energy about relationships and finding balance and peace and harmony in our lives is going to be quite strong. The Sun is lighting up an area of our chart. So the Sun's changing signs every 30 days. It lights up an area of our, thanks, Sister Blue. She said, bless you, Yosh Yosh. It's lighting up an area of your life where the Sun is giving you more, shining a light in an area of your chart. So it's highlighting something, showing you something, but also where you can find vitality and energy, and where you can tap into like creative energy, and you can find more expression of that energy and express yourself more in that area of your life when the Sun's there. So where Venus is, so Venus is in that current sign too, is where Venus is traveling, is where you can find more pleasure and love and finance and and money and stuff like that. You can attract more in that area of your life when Venus is moving through that certain area of your chart. So understanding that is, these different little sections in the chart are split up by 12, and they represent the different areas. Oh, now I'm sneezy too, gosh. Something's making my nose itchy. The different areas of your life. So the first, and we all have different signs in different areas. Here, I've got a cat hair on my nose now. But the first house, and depending what rising sign you are, depending on what time you're born and where you were born, sets up, your rising sun. So the first house in your chart, the first house is always about who you are, what you're about, all those things I was saying about myself before with the first house energy. And then the fourth house is your home and your family and all that. And then you've got the eighth house, which is about other people's resources and money and finance, other people's money and finance, like your partner's money and finances. It's banks, inheritances, insurances, it's trauma and sex and things that are taboo, and it's healing, and it's secrets and occult things and whatever else. So and then the 11th house is our friends and friendship groups and friendship circles and our social groups and our communities and organizations. So those different areas of your life will have planets moving through at different times, which triggers certain things and brings energy into that area of your life. So, you know, you could have 6 months where there's nothing happening in your 11th house of friends and friendship groups. So nothing changes in your friends and friendship groups or friendship circles. Everything stays the same, stays, you know, consistent and whatever it is. And then a planet can move into that 11th house. And you can, and depending if you've got planets in that house or area of your life or whatever, then that planet can hit it and trigger something, or it can just bring some of the energy through as it moves through that area of your life, where you can have some subtle energy come through. So more energy. So like the sun was moving through your 11th house, you might find that you're just starting to, you know, connect more with friends. It gets a bit more active, where you can start to find some happiness, some joy, through friends and friendships and networking and connecting and all of that, where you know, it starts to get more, just that joy and that fun and all that sort of thing. Basically, the soul is you know, feels good about that sort of thing. Your ego in a sense is being pumped up by your friends and your social group and your communities and organizations. So that's just a little explanation of the houses. Because when you're new to astrology, it's like can be so confusing, but once you understand it all, then it just seems all so simple. So it's a funny thing, astrology. All right. Not saying astrology is simple. There's nothing simple about it at all. I wanted to quickly bring this up too. So this does give an example of where we currently are in our in the transit. Oh, what's that? Hang on, where's the report gone? I have to change the source so that you can see this chart. So no, that's not it. What's this called? Oh, there we go. Here we go. Okay, so why is that so cut off? Hang on. Wrong button. There we go. Okay, so if you can see this, maybe I can make it smaller, bigger, and smaller. There we go. It doesn't look very clear on there, but anyway, so this, I only found this just before actually, but this is actually shows you currently like what is happening with all the planets. So we can see that Mercury is currently stationed, as we've just been talking about here. So it's showing that it's stationed, and its last station point was 8. Oh, we could have looked here when we were flipping through the chart, but there you go. So the last time it was stationed before it went retrograde was 8 degrees and 55 minutes in Libra. And its next station, which is today, is 24 degrees of Virgo and 11 minutes, 57 seconds. That's what that means. So last station was 21 days ago, next station in 6 hours. So it's that station. So it still must be still moving a couple of minutes. It hasn't fully stationed direct yet. So 6 hours and 57 minutes till it's exactly stopped, and then we'll start to move forward. But it's fully, we can experiencing that energy now because it's going so slow. There's another chart too that you can see. One of my teachers shows where you can actually see how many minutes and that, but I won't flick through and stuff this around, but I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Essential dignities, maybe? No, it's not dignities, so I don't know. Anyway, so we can see here. So this is where we can see like all these slow planets, all these retrograde planets. So it's like things can have really felt slow in our lives, like nothing's happening, nothing's manifesting, you know, whatever, because of all these retrogrades and slowed down planets. So we've got Venus is the only one moving fast and going at full speed, and is quite far away from another retrograde before she has her next station or retrograde. It says 293 days, so we've got a long while for that. And it will be in Leo. Ooh, that will be an interesting one. Venus retrograding in Leo. So we have Mars there. You can see at 20 degrees of Libra currently, going slow. The reason Mars is slow is because, as I said in my last chat, which I think 2 weeks ago, we spoke about Mars going retrograde. It's a very big transit because Mars will be in Gemini retrograde for 5 months or something till March next year, and that's a huge time for Mars, which is our drive, our aggression, our motivation, our ability to get things done, basically get things moving. He will be stopping, slowing down, stopping, going retrograde for a long time, a long period, and he'll be making some tense squares to Neptune too, which I want to talk a little bit about today because that is going to be quite really powerful, like really intense and powerful for us as well. Hey Melinda, hey Philly, how are you? Thanks for joining. Okay, so sorry, I wasn't paying attention to Instagram too. Hello, open your mind and intuitive pathways. Okay, so yeah, so you can see now, you can see also that Jupiter is here in retrograde, and Jupiter, I think Jupiter next station's in 52 days, so Jupiter's coming out of its retrograde. Must be December, is it? 52 days, 2 months. Could be just the end of November or December. And we've got Saturn, and Jupiter is our expansion, our growth, and all of that. So Jupiter is going to retrograde, is currently in Aries. So Jupiter is a planet that we should see what sign it is in each year because it affects the collective energy a lot, that Jupiter energy. It's something that ancients looked to was Jupiter, and that, you know, gave an example of what the year was going to be like, the energy. Jupiter changes signs every 13 months, but then it's going in a retrograde period now, so it's moved into Aries, and now it's going to retrograde back into Neptune. And when Jupiter was in Neptune last, so Jupiter is about expansion and growth and abundance and luck and all of these things, but it expands things. So whatever energy it's in, whether it's negative or positive, it's going to expand, and it overdoes on things too. And in that Neptune energy, it can overdo and expand the energy of in a retrograde energy too, and depending what else is going on in the chart as well. But it's you know, themes of that Pisces Neptunian energy. So it's going back into Pisces, which is Neptune's home, who's also there too, which is the planet of illusions, and it's deception, and it's not seeing things clearly, wearing rose-colored, rose-tinted glasses, over-idolizing things or people or situations, being too dreamy and unrealistic about things, and thinking that everything will just be great and work out and be wonderful, and without any work or effort or changing of anything or anything like that. over optimism and that sort of thing. So especially when it's talking about Neptune and Pisces, because Neptune's all about the dreams and escapism and illusions and being creative and off in another world with things that aren't necessarily tangible or practical. Oh, Phil, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. I hope you're okay. Today, oh, Phil, I'm sorry. Oh, there is some, yeah, what a crazy, there's some crazy energy around, especially with this Mercury stationing. Oh, Phil, I hope you're okay. I'm sending you lots of love, Phil. I hope you're okay, Phil. I know there's a lot of good things going on in your life too, so sometimes we have to go through some difficult things and then we usually get to the better things. Okay, so, oh, Zen Wave. Hello, how are you? How are you, my friend? What have you been up to? Yeah, so all these planets you can see, all retrograding. Yeah, look, I'll show you quickly Instagram. Let's have a quick squiz. I don't know if that's too far, if you can see. Anyway. Oh, can I change the camera thing around? I don't even know. Anyway. Yeah, so all those planets retrograde, all going slow. The moon's always traveling fast anyway. The moon is changing signs every 2.5 days. That doesn't change. It's got its regular 28-day cycle. Okay, so also Jupiter has just made its closest approach to Earth for like 60 years. So the closest it's come to Earth in 60 years. So once in a lifetime for some people, might be twice in a lifetime if you're lucky. And it can be seen in ancient astrology as it could be positive for humanity, or it can also bring chaos and stuff like that as well. So you can see how that Jupiter, we'll see how that Jupiter plays out, that energy. But Jupiter's like it's a spiritual planet, but again, it's going to expand things. So if things are like good, it's going to expand the good. If things are bad, it's going to expand the bad. So if there's like, I guess if you think about it, there's a lot of bad things going on Earth, they're going to be expanded. If there's a lot of good things on Earth, then they're going to be expanded. So if we've got wars and chaos and all these crazy things going on, deception, all these Neptunian things, it's going to expand that. If we've got all these amazing, beautiful, utopian things, revolutionary things going on, it's going to expand that. So, yeah. It was your birthday on Friday. Happy birthday for Friday. Happy solar return. Wishing you an amazing year ahead. Alright, so what else should we... Okay, so there's just so much happening this month. Okay, let's go back to the normal chart. Oh, where's that going like that? Oh, because I've made it big. That was right. No, I have to make it small again. That's probably why people transition and do scenes and stuff like that. I don't know how to do all that stuff. I think I would know more since I've been on Twitch for like 2 years. That's funny. Wow, I've been on Twitch for like 2 years. I mean, I did have a break for like 6 months though, saying that 5 months or something while I moved house. Okay. And I'm not a regular streamer by any means. Not nowhere near as what I used to be when I used to stream 3 or 4 days a week. Okay, so it's good to hear a friendly voice. Oh, Phil. If I ever go through Melbourne, we gotta meet up. I'm not in Melbourne, I'm in Brisbane. Unless you mean meet up in Melbourne. Please leave a review below. Oh, these bloody stream element things. I need to get rid of those. Sorry for that, Twitch friends. Okay, so so we have a full moon coming up in Aries on the, so let's have a look. So the sun is in Libra, so the opposite sign Aries, where the moon will be creating an opposition, which creates that full moon, as I was saying earlier. So let's just go forward till we get to Aries. There we are in Aries energy. Let me move that. Let's see what's going on. Ah, thank you, Zenway, for your sub on Twitch. Appreciate it. Oh, and Giblet subbed. Thanks, Giblet. Oh, wait, are you gifting subs? Is that what it is? You gift a sub. He's not even on, is he? Oh, you're going to watch here on Twitch. Yeah, I just thought I'd put my phone on Instagram as well while I did Twitch and YouTube. Why not? Give the Instagram peeps some action. I mean, they get heaps of action with my posts, but not much video action, I guess. Okay. Thanks, Zenwave, as well. Appreciate it. Okay. Have you been streaming as well? Have you been working? What have you been up to? Okay, so yeah, so the Aries full moon. So when we have a new moon, that energy then manifests over the next 6 months until we get to the full moon. So new moon is new beginnings, new opportunities, new beginnings, refresh, restart energy, and planting seeds. And then we get to the full moon, which is the culmination point, the celebration, the completion, the end point of that 6-month transit cycle. So what we were manifesting, starting, renewing, beginning, whatever, back in April when there was a new moon in Aries, which would have been around like the 21st or something, I don't know, something like that, of April. Whatever we were putting our intentions and thoughts into to create or to seed or to birth something new can be coming to a completion, ending, culmination, celebration, finish point now. So the full moon is intense because it's that opposition, the moon and the sun, and it's coming to its completion of that cycle, and it's a release point. So whenever we've got an opposition, it's the opposite sign is that release point. So we're talking about the full moon. So the release point is the sun. So we look to the sun to see where we can release that built up emotional full moon energy, and we can look for another perspective, another opinion, another point of view from that sun energy to help us to work through that full moon emotional energy of releasing, letting go, completion, ending, whatever it is, of whatever it is in whatever area of our life. So for me, Aries is my 7th house, which is relationships. It's the way I relate with others. It's business partnerships. So there can be a culmination, celebration, completion, ending point. For me, around relationships relating to others, my business partners, and those sorts of things, basically. So, yeah, that's what from what I've built up from the last 6 months, can be experiencing. And I don't know what's going to happen on that full moon energy. I have to think about what I was setting my intentions for back then in regards to relationships, business partnerships, that sort of thing. The way I relate to others in the world, my relationships, my relating. and see what I was planting seeds or manifesting for back in April, and to see how they're coming to that completion, culmination, finalization, ending point now for me. And you can do the same depending what area it is in your chart. So if you want to know how to get your chart, I'll show you after the end of our chat, so that you or go into Discord. Join my Discord. My links are usually there somewhere in YouTube or Twitch. They're easy to find. Even Instagram, you just go to my link tree in my bio and you can find all my links to everything. So so that's what the full moon in Aries. So Aries represents Aries is ruled by Mars, so we usually look to see where Mars is and what Mars is doing to get an idea about what the driving energy, what the planet's intentions is for that transit. So Mars is currently in Gemini. It's getting ready to slowing down to station, but it's not going to retrograde quite yet. So while the full moon is happening on the 9th of October, Mercury is still moving forward and hasn't stopped yet. It is slower though, so it's not as active in its energy of like taking risks, initiating things, moving forward with things, leading the way, fighting for what it wants and believes in, or whatever else like that. So Mars is our drive, it's our passion, it's our motivation, it's our aggression, it's our driving force, basically. It's what gives us that fiery energy to go after things and to achieve things and do things. Now, in having that full moon in Aries Aries represents Aries is courageous. It's it's a leader. It's a warrior. Because it's ruled by that Mars energy. It's about aggression, and it's about being an individual as well. So it's very much that energy is about being an individual. So it's like that new moon energy could have been us stepping into a new energy in April, of us finding ourselves and our identity and what we're about, and what we want, what we're passionate about, what we're driven towards, what we're passionate about, what lights us up in that fiery energy, what gets us going, that sort of thing. So those themes, so new beginnings in Mars area. So we could have been initiating or starting something new with that Mars Aries full new moon energy, because the start of the astrological year too, that new moon in Aries in April, and now we're at the end of that we're partway through that 6 months energy of the year. So we're coming to that completion, that ending, that celebration point around, something around our identity, around us being an individual. And when we're looking to the sun, we're looking at how we relate to others, or looking to our relationships, or to that Libra energy, to find sun in Libra, to find balance. So it's like, where have we been maybe too much focused on ourselves and too much stuck in being an individual and doing things on our own? And now we need to look at that completion of that. Now we need to look at how we can have partnerships and be in relationship with others, or how we can relate with others more and connect more, so that we can not do things alone, so that we can partner up, so that we can tackle things in the world together. So it's that more coming together energy now, instead of feeling like we have to do everything alone. So that full moon can be highlighting that, bringing up some kind of completion, ending, culmination, final release point, whatever it is, around that stuff of, you and only about you and your projects. And now we're starting to integrate and relate and come together more with others. What else about that full moon and Aries? Okay, so let's have a look at the full moon exactly, to see what else is going on with it. So we've got that Mars and Gemini energy. So because we're talking about relationships and relating to others, it's through communication, our speaking and our thoughts and our mind and our thought processes. So again, it can be Do we have a negative or positive mindset when it comes to relationships? Like I said earlier, this can be a theme coming up too. It's like, are we stuck in too much of a negative mindset that we can't attract the right person, or we won't find the right person, or we have to do everything alone. We'll never have someone that is the right partner or this or that for us. So it can be a release of that energy too, a letting go of that toxic energy that's holding us back from having what we want and being in the right relationships and aligning with the right people and having the right communications and having the right mindset to be able to be partner up with others and have good relationships and relate to others well. So let's go forward a day. Let's go back a couple of hours. Moon at 16 degrees. There we go. So 16 degrees. We've got the moon and the sun in opposition, creating that full moon. So that full moon in Aries. So we've got the full moon there with Chiron. So it's definitely going to be a moon that is going to be triggering, because full moons are the most intense energy. It's where the energy is coming to its finalization, its completion point. It can feel very intense. We know that full moons can be when people go all crazy and there's more people in the hospitals and all this stuff in emergency. They always say that sort of stuff, the werewolves come out and all that sort of thing. So, and the werewolf within ourselves can come out or whatever. The emotional energy comes more to the surface. It's more extreme. We can be more triggered, and especially because this full moon we can see here is going to be with Chiron. So any emotional energy coming up around our trauma, our wounds, around being an individual, around having to feel like we have to do everything alone or that we are alone, around our identity and who we are and being authentic and being able to go out in the world and be us and present ourselves the way we want and interact the way that we want, opposed to what the world's expectations of what is expected of us. Hello, Dead King. Thanks for coming by. So sweet. Look at all those emojis. Moons. So nice. Whose emoji is that moon one? That's cool. All right, so Chiron is always bringing up our wounds in some way, our trauma, and Aries is about the identity. So it's about being our authentic selves and going out into the world and expressing that authentic energy and being an individual, but also knowing that we can stay an individual and be our unique selves, but also have partnerships with others, have relationships with others, and not lose ourselves or lose our identity or who we are or what our drive and motivation is and what we're going after, our plans and all that. They don't have to be put aside to please someone else. But that sun energy is reminding us too, because it's the ego then. So the ego, the sun, the soul is in opposition with that Chiron energy. So it is reminding us too that we need to have others and other relationships and other people in our lives to help us. We don't need to do everything alone. We can't do everything alone. And also that we need to find that peace and balance and harmony with others, but not to the cost of where we're Libra energy. Yes, we need to speak our truth and all of that, but not that we keep the peace so much that we then become the negative side of Libra, where we just bottle everything up and we become resentful because we're not, because we're being people pleasers and sitting on the fence too much, basically. So those sorts of things can be coming up too with that full moon, any kind of releasing and letting go of those sorts of things and energy. So we can also see here too, this is a very intense full moon now. This month just gets crazy. That's the thing. Ted King, thanks for the raid. So this full moon is going to be intense because we've also got the sun and Venus together. So it is highlighting our relationships, our money, our finances. The sun's there. So it's our self-worth, it's our confidence, our skills, abilities, all those things are coming up. So, again, it's like we can do everything alone, but you can only earn so much money or make so much money in your with your aspirations and your goals, with your work, your finances, whatever it is, when you're doing it alone. You need people to partner with and to people to what's the word I'm looking for, integrate with or whatever, so that they can help you. Like, you might need someone to do your marketing, you might need someone to do your money and finances, an accountant. You might not be able to do everything. The solo entrepreneur is the accountant, they're the marketer, they're the providing the service, they're doing all the things, selling the product, making the product, whatever it is. But once you want to expand and grow, you need to then be able to get others to help you and rely on others to help with that. So this could even be where where it's like we start to see where we need to share resources and share money and finances and stuff like that, and not keep it all just to ourselves and that it's just for our own benefit, but to see that we can help others and others can help us as well. Funny emojis in my funny use of the emojis in my that's hilarious. Don't ban me, Kiblet. So funny. I don't think he's here. He's busy playing WoW and WoW obsessed at the moment. Okay. So funny. I haven't got the queue open. Zenwave. I don't even know if it works anymore or whatever, but if you're here when I look at charts, then I'll definitely have a look at your chart if you've been chatting. Or been here or whatever. Okay, so okay, so that's the full moon energy. So I think that's okay, that's just looking at what else is going on. 13, 16, 18, 13. 14 degrees. So 16 degrees. So Saturn is also there in a square. Oh, so the full moon becomes even more intensified, even more potent. So this is happening on the 10th of October, early AM, 7 a.m. for Australia, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., depending where you are in Australia. Maybe like if you're in Western Australia, it could even be, 3 hours behind? So like 11 a.m. or something. Or if you're on the other side of the world, it's going to be late or through the day or whatever, late in the afternoon or evening on the 9th. So what is that? The 9th and the 10th. So that is Wednesday and Thursday. The 9th and 10th. So Saturn there in that square. So although we might, we're going to feel restricted and we're going to feel like we have obstacles, because that's what Saturn in a square brings. It brings us harsh, maybe like realizations about our time and where we're investing our energy and all that. So it's like, it's going to show us. So it's like where we're being too stuck in and creating our own obstacles, and where we're restricting ourselves and holding ourselves back from connecting and having those relationships because of the trauma, because of the past and all of those things there about our identity and who we are and what we want, and not losing ourselves and being an individual and all that. And then the opposite, it's creating then that tensity there. And then the square opposite side with that Mars in the square of the Sun and Libra then is that, again, where it's like where we're putting too much time and energy into people, relationships, things that are keeping us away from who we are, what we're about, what we're going after, our goals, our desires, our passions. So it's like that full moon is a release point, again, maybe of the wrong or relationships or whatever like that, or the way we're relating with others. It could be to do, because we're talking about Venus as well, like because it can bring up, like in Libra too, that self-worth and that confidence energy. So it's like where we're holding ourselves back because of those sorts of issues, basically self-worth issues and things like that. Our values, holding ourselves back. So we're restricting ourselves because of our ego, the Sun there too in that Libra energy. Because we're being too lazy. We're not wanting to make that effort in relationships, put that time and energy into them. We're focusing too much on the pleasure and indulging and not and holding ourselves back because we're not putting in the hard work and the energy and the time that needs, or taking too much from others and not giving enough, or something kind of balance maybe there, something that's restricting us there as well. It's bringing up a hard lesson. So Saturn's always about lessons. It's about karma, and those things can be coming up within relationships, within all of that stuff. That's a lot. Weedy woo. Traveling, enjoying the weather. Oh, you've got good weather. We don't. So I'm glad that you have good weather then if you're traveling. Hmm. All right. Take care, Dead King. Thanks for the kind words. I hope you have a safe trip and an enjoyable one. Yeah, so I think that is the looking at the chart and looking at where the other energies are. That's the basis for the full moon. So that's a lot. That's a lot. So rewind back, replay what I just said then with that full moon energy and all that stuff going on. It's a lot to take in and a lot that's going to come about with this full moon. So another point to look at too is that, I guess that's more with Mars actually. And I think I've said that. So like why Mars is so important, why Mars and Venus are so important, and what they're doing and what's happening with them. And then their home signs become important too because it affects that as well. So yeah, and Venus is there in Libra. So Venus is the ruler of the North Node. Libra is the ruler of the South Node. So the nodes are our destiny. It's our past and our future, and it's collectively affecting us and personally affecting us. And so the nodes change signs every 18 months. I just did a post about some of the eclipses, just a quick one on Instagram yesterday. But the I need to pee too. So the so Venus in this full moon too, and what she's doing is super important because it's a big part of our destiny and our future. And because she's in Libra and in that relationship energy, it's about finding relationships, finding the right people that we value, finding the right relationships that are have the same values as us, finding relationships and people that we can relate to and connect with that bring us pleasure and bring us beauty and love and creativity and all these things that Venus wants in Libra, and bring us people that we can connect with and socialize and talk with and communicate with and have intellectual conversations with, because it's that Libra air energy. People that we can talk to and connect with on an intellectual basis, finding love and relationships that are intellectual, that are to do with the sun and light us up and bring us vitality, and business partnerships or clients that have the same values as us and that light us up and that give us that energy and vitality, that don't drain it from us. Because we're talking about that moon and in the opposite sign too, and that energy. So it's like people that are emotionally draining us, causing us trauma, causing us to step back into the past. That's what we need to release and let go of with this full moon. So I hope that helps with the full moon energy that's coming up. The next thing that we should talk about is, let's have a look. Full moon. Oh, well, when it's also Mars, that's the thing. We need to look at what Mars is doing. So the last thing I will say about that full moon, Mars is slowing down in Gemini. So it is all about the communication and the thoughts and the mindset around relationships, and all that, and us as an individual, and how we are putting ourselves out into the world and doing everything based on our mindset and our communication, our thoughts and our learning and all of that stuff. So Mars at 22 degrees on this day of this full moon. 22 degrees. and in conjunct with Pluto. So there is an aspect of transformation and change there, especially if they're both going to be in a almost stationing position. Pluto is stationing, about to go direct on this day too. And Pluto is all about transformation and change and getting to the root cause of things, the trauma, the healing. It's about death and rebirth and transformation. And it's about secrets coming up to the surface and the truth coming out. It's to evolve us, to bring up the murky darkness, to bring up the shadow stuff and the shadow side, to help us heal, to integrate it so that we can come out strong and powerful and empowered and in control of our energy and our emotions and us, basically, of ourselves, being in our own power, step into our power. So Pluto's always doing those things. And that's going to be quite intense with that full moon too, with it there stationing. And it's in that in conjunct with quincunx, in a quincunx in conjunct with Mars. So that's quite powerful too there. And I want to talk about that Pluto as well, maybe next, but we definitely have to talk about Pluto because that is, just the last few days, little things keep coming to me about Saturn going into Aquarius and about Pluto going into Saturn going into Pisces and then Pluto going into Aquarius. It's exciting actually, those two energies changing. I think a lot of the heaviness is going to the heavy energy is going to change from Saturn and Aquarius when Saturn goes into Pisces. So it goes from Saturn and Aquarius being a heavy energy to Saturn and Pisces being a fluttery energy. So okay, I'm not missing anything. No. Okay. So Mars is going to be in a square. So Mars is up here at 22 degrees and we have Neptune in retrograde down here at 23 degrees, 22 and 23. So they're almost in an exact square, not quite, but they're in a square. And this is what I want to talk about too. I want to talk a little bit more about that Mars and Gemini energy, or I might have to make another separate video like I did a couple of weeks ago, talking about almost pretty much just spoke about Mars and Gemini the whole time, I think. But yeah, because it's just so much to it, because it's like such a 5-month transit. There's so much going on with it. But Mars is going to square Neptune like 3 times. So we've got this first square energy coming up. So Mars will square. Then when Mars retrogrades back, it's going to square again because it's going to retrograde all the way up. It's going to go all the way up to like 26 degrees before it retrogrades. Hang on, let's just move Mars forward quickly. Yeah, it's going very slowly, but it's going to get all the way. Yeah, okay. So Mars is stationing on the 31st. So the end of the month, Mars stations to retrograde, and that's what we're going to feel for the 5 months. It's going to be a huge transit, and it's only 3 months of it on March. No, 5 months of it left. Yep, huge transit, and it's going to affect our whole lives because it's all of our drive. It's all of our direction. It's our, as I said, our drive. It's our motivation, basically, in life. So it's making that square now, and then it's going to move forward a bit, then retrograde back and make an exact square, and then come back forward and square again. Oh, okay, so let me go back to that full moon. I'm going weeks, not days. That was too far. So we're back here on this full moon energy. Okay, so Neptune and Mars in a square. So Neptune is the planet of illusion. It's a planet of illusion, delusion. It's dreams, it's fantasy, it's the higher octave of Venus, so it's like soulmate energy as well, because it's like a big part of our soul purpose, that Neptune energy. It's also, because we think about Neptune, it rules Pisces, and it's all about not seeing things clearly, seeing things with like rose-tinted rose-colored glasses. It's quite a creative energy. where we can tap into like more romance and more passion and creative energy, because we're able to think outside the normal barriers, because it's more about mystical energy and other realities and stuff like that. And it can also be an energy of deception and addictions, and where we aren't honest with ourselves, and we're delusional sort of thing. So, or someone is tricking us in a sense, or in not tricking, but being deceptive towards us, not being clear, maybe. So, and we're talking about Mars energy, our direction, our drive, our passion, our motivation in that square, intense energy. So we're going to feel restricted again. There's another restrictive energy at that square, and squares are big lessons. They're teaching us something. They're helping to redirect us in another path, another way. So maybe we need to find another way of doing something, or going another way, or we need to try something else, or something's not working. There's a lesson we're needing to learn here around those things. So depending where it's falling in your chart, it's gonna, it depends on that. So for me, it's falling in my 6th and my 6th and 9th house. So my day, what I do on a day-to-day basis, my daily routines, my work, my co-workers, my pets, in that 10th square with my beliefs, my higher learning and education, my beliefs, my ethics, my philosophies, anything to do with like teaching and higher education and teaching and gurus and other cultures, things that are long distance or far away. Those sorts of things can be in that tense energy for me. I'll be feeling restricted between those two things in some way. So, yeah. So depending where it's happening in your life is where you're going to feel that restrictive energy, that obstacle between those two of you not being able to take action and go after what you want, or be motivated in some way because of that deception, that delusionary energy, and where you're not able to show up and put your full vitality or energy into it, and work hard towards something, because there's that energy that's making us more want to escape, or not see things clearly, or be in a delusion, or whatever it is. Be lost in another reality. So it can help us to see as well where we're being deceived or not seeing things clearly. It can more intensify and bring it up more, that sort of thing. Okay, what else? I guess because it's also a fluttery energy, that Pisces energy. So it's like, yeah, we're not able to take action and do all that and do it, because it's like hard to stick to plans and stay on track and all that, because it's like, oh, look, there's a pretty butterfly. Oh, look, there's this. Oh, look, this is going on. Like, it can be a bit like that with that Pisces energy too. Okay, so I'm going to quickly run to the toilet. I'll be back in a moment. And then we're going to talk about, I think Pluto going direct is the next thing. So, couple more things to talk about, and then we'll get onto the eclipses, and then that'll be it. And then I'll look at some charts. So the next thing will be, Pluto direct, because that is huge. It's the collective energy, and we're talking about the outer planets, and Pluto is the destroyer. Yeah, okay, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. Make sure you are following me on Instagram if you're on Instagram. If you use Instagram, because I post like, I won't say daily. I used to post daily. I go through phases. But I post more frequently on there than I do videos and go live like once or twice a week. So once or twice a fortnight. Sorry. I usually go live, but I do more posts and little reels and stuff like that more probably on Instagram. Okay, so all right, so we want to talk about Pluto direct now. So Pluto is an evolutionary energy. It's here to evolve us. It's here to help us to transform and change our lives. So with that brings death, an ending or a renewal in some way, which is usually something has to. It's so Pluto. The best way to describe it is the phoenix. So the phoenix has to go down into the ashes, be rebirthed, or go into a renewal phase and then be rebirthed into something new. And that's what it is. So it's almost like the caterpillar going into its cocoon, doing its thing, coming out as a butterfly. So that is Pluto. Concept of Pluto energy. It can be difficult and feel like that you're going through power struggles and that you're not in control, and that there's so much trauma and darkness going on. It can be a dark night of the soul energy, but it's to shift us, to help us, to grow us, evolve us, to get us into a more soul desired place, because it is about our desires and our passions and our intimacy and all those deep things too with that Pluto energy. Pluto ruling the sign of Scorpio, which is all about things that are occult like, or that are secretive, or that are a mystery in some way, or that are deep and intense and passionate and intimate. That's that Scorpio Pluto energy. So Pluto currently in Capricorn has been helping us to transform, have a birth and redeath, change, all those things in an area of our life, where Capricorn is, but to do with our goals and what we're building and what we're working towards, and towards us, the ability for us to take risks and take on a challenge and to put in the hard work and to show up and to build something and to create something and to have some kind of legacy and to be able to have some kind of plans and structure and all those sorts of things in our life. So Pluto's been helping us to transform that so that we can have more structure and all that, basically. Now, Pluto will go direct. So Pluto has been in that internal mode. So it could say that Pluto has, because the outer planets are retrograding more often because they're further out, and so they seem to be looking like they're going backwards more to us on Earth, so they retrograde more for longer. So Pluto Pluto coming out of its retrograde is okay. So it's like every time Pluto retrogrades, like whether it's every year, whatever it is, we are going through that Phoenix phase. So it's like, well, Pluto's been in retrograde, we've been going more of that internal and going within and trying to find that renewal and rebirth ourselves in some way, or to be able to rebirth ourselves in some way. So when Pluto goes direct, it's coming out as a renewal, a rebirth now. Us stepping into our power, us feeling more in control of those Capricornian themes that I was saying about our goals and our plans and our future and what we're building and what we're creating and what we're working towards, and having some kind of structure and all those sorts of things. Being able to show up. The biggest thing is like us being able to show up to whatever it is we're working towards. So, hello JJ, how are you? So that Pluto helping us to change our lives so that we can show up. Yosh! So that we can build things with people, with ourselves, whatever it is. So that's nice. Thank you. I hope you've had a nice day or night wherever you are. So So Pluto is also our psychology too. It's our psychological state because it's all about trauma and healing and getting to the depths of the truth of the matter of things and us stepping into taking our control back and being in our power and all that. So it's like us getting now in a more being more psychologically balanced in some way, or just being in a better mental state so that we can show up and have that time and those structures, have the time and energy and build those structures. So when Pluto's been in retrograde too, we could have seen more of our own psychological issues and traumas in regards to like how we're what was I going to say? Showing up for ourselves, and where we're not showing up for ourselves and showing up for other people and all of that, and helping us to I lost what I was going to say now. Anyway, so that Pluto going direct. So Pluto will, so that's the 10th of October. Hang on. That I'm looking at from that moon. So let's just go back a day or two. Okay, Pluto's still retrograde there. So the 9th, so 8th or 9th, depending where you are in the world, of October, that's when Pluto will station. And when it stations, it's the most intense. So all those themes can be coming up even more so intense, seeing people's true intentions, seeing I was going to say before, seeing true people's true intentions, seeing our own true intentions coming to the light, to the surface too. If we haven't had the best intentions with situations or things or two, that could have come up or can be coming up even more intensely with this station energy. Then on the 10th, 11th, depending where you are again, Pluto will go direct in that Capricorn energy. So I just want to see now, Pluto will move into Aquarius, and the new energy will start where we start to transform a different area of our lives, and collectively the energy changes on the 28th of March. So there's so much happening in March. Like, oh, you're right, you want to get up. Come here. I'll let you on this side. Sorry, sweetie. Come on this side. Come here. There you go. Go into your little box there. Okay? Right there. There you go. There you go, sweetie. Okay. So this is what I'm saying, between now and March, there's just so much happening and changing and just like going on. It's crazy with the astrology. So, and in our lives and collectively and in the world, that's going to happen, especially because the outer planets are starting to go direct, and the outer planets affect us collectively as well. So, Pluto will be helping us now to build those structures and all those things, basically, and to work through the trauma and what's come up with it, and to work through the control and power issues and the intimacy issues and all that stuff. We'll now work through all that stuff so that we can be strong in our foundations until that March, when it moves into Aquarius. So Pluto into Aquarius, I swear I wrote some notes about this actually. I think I did, but I don't know if I can look at them on my phone while I'm on Instagram live. I'm not sure if I can do that. So Pluto into Aquarius. So Aquarius is humanity. It's technology as well. So Pluto destroys things. So where we have had where humanity has been in power struggles and has been overly controlled, where it's been overly dominated, where it's been deceived, and where humanity has been deceived, where the deception is, where we haven't been seeing things clearly, veils been put over us, like we're not seeing it, whatever the term is, that is going to transform and change and come up to the surface now. The trauma around humanity's trauma, all of that, and spiritual trauma and energy as well, spirituality and religion and all that stuff's going to come up in regards to humanity and power and control and all that stuff, and technology. So we're going to go through a big, where technology, again, where there's been technology's been used for power in the wrong ways, or psychologically manipulate people, or to deceive people or whatever. So those sorts of things will come up with Pluto going into Aquarius now. Sorry, I started to talk about Pisces energy. I don't know why then. I didn't mean to. It's Aquarius energy, sorry. I started to think about deception and that, but it's the Aquarius energy. So Pluto in Aquarius. So yeah, technology, where technology's being used for in the wrong way. So when we're talking about Pluto is destroying things so that they can be renewed and regenerated and refreshed or whatever it is. So I think that, maybe some sorts of technology will be destroyed and will go backwards in some way, or not backwards, but we'll have to rethink about how we use certain technology if it's being used in the wrong way, to control, to dominate, to manipulate. All of those things will come up with the ways that technology is being used with the Pluto transit. So Pluto is a 7-year transit, sorry. Neptune's 12 years. Pluto is a 7-year. Pluto 7-year transit. Saturn is it must be 7-year. I think it's a 7-year transit, Pluto. Of each, like through each sign, sorry. It goes through each sign, takes 7 years. 7 times 12. It might be right. Neptune is 12 years. I think that's right. So, so we're going to be experiencing that Pluto energy for quite some time, but it'll be very interesting now when we start to see that. And I think that once Pluto goes into Aquarius, then that will be lit up sort of thing. Like we'll be able to see all of that and work through that energy for that 7-year period. But I think that this next few months up until then is going to be almost like the foundations for that. It's like what's going to happen over the next few months is like, then when we get to that transit and it moves, we're going to be like, it's going to be so obvious, all those things, because we've been experiencing it, sort of thing. Like it's really come up with this Mars transit in Gemini, sort of thing. So because Mars is about war and aggression and taking action and fighting and all that stuff, and I've said it before, we're going into war-like energy with Mars. When we look back at what happened with Mars previously when it's been in Gemini and it's retrograded, we've had war-like situations come up. Certain wars have been in effect and things like that. So we do have some crazy fighting energy coming up with that Mars retrograding in Gemini. And you think about Gemini energy. Gemini is like, doesn't want to necessarily have like boundaries and be restricted. It's very much a flowy energy that is wanting to sort of just take in a lot and try a lot of different things. So yeah. Okay, so Mars, why was I talking about Mars? Yes, sorry, talking about Pluto. So Pluto Pluto going direct, yeah. So now we will start to see a lot of transforming and change and renewal of our structures collectively as well. Pluto is also government, so the death and rebirth of governments is going to be a big thing, I guess, over this, until March. That's going to be something that comes up until March. And yeah. And then obviously Pluto going to Aquarius, then it becomes about humanity and the people. People taking so I guess Pluto going into Aquarius too is the people. Aquarius, the people taking their power back, Pluto. So over the next 7 years from March, the people are going to take their power back. That's pretty evolutionary, Pluto, for humanity, Aquarius. So that's something to look forward to. It's going to be intense because Pluto is always intense and brings up all the shit and shows all the secret and hidden stuff and the murky stuff and the trauma. But it's, again, to refresh and renew and step back into our power and take control back. So the people are going to take control back from the governments and from whatever's been traumatizing and causing psychological stress and all of that. So that's really cool and exciting. There's like good things to look forward to. So the next 6 months are going to be exciting because March is exciting energy. March is like, March is crazy. I can't wait till March. Okay, so all right, let's move on from that. I want to get to the eclipses and then we can move on. So we've spoke about the full moon. What else? Okay, so October 23rd, 24th, depending where you are in the world. So the other thing I want to talk about was Saturn going direct. So Saturn has been in retrograde. Saturn, when does Saturn go into retrograde now? I feel like it's a 5.5 month transit or something. But if we go, there's an easy way to get back to today. I don't think there is. So let's just go back. October. So retrograde. There we go. So Saturn. So Saturn is a 2.5 year transit. Well, I'm going the wrong way. We want a station. There we go. All right. So Saturn is stationing on the 22nd, 23rd of October, depending where you are. Saturn's a 2.5 year transit. Saturn going through Aquarius is us getting serious, showing up, taking responsibility, committing, growing up, stepping into or feeling the effects of our karma in the area of where Aquarius is in our chart, that area of our life. So Aquarius themes of humanitarian things, technology. It's the bigger picture. It's it's humanity. It's the bigger picture. Those pretty much technology. Aquarius themes. I think that's about it. So I think that with that Saturn moving forward in Aquarius now is that we can now see what we need to show up for, what's worth our time and energy, what we need to really commit to, get serious about, and show up for. All of those things coming up. So Saturn going through each sign every 2.5 years, changing signs every 2.5 years is going to bring rewards for us at the end of that cycle, the end of the 2.5 year period. If we've shown up, if we've done all those things, but put the energy and the effort and the time in, Saturn will reward us quite greatly as well if we've done the work. So we're going to be starting to move towards that cycle, the end of that cycle. And humanity will start to see, because it's humanitarian sign, humanity will start to see the rewards that come through from doing the collective work and living out the collective karma, the people's karma, basically. That's what we're going through with the Saturn and Aquarius, the people's karma being played out humanitarian karma being played out on the earth so that we can release it and move forward from the karma and then be able to build and create amazing things, especially with Saturn moving into Pisces. Let's just see. Let's go forward a bit. So let's move it back to weeks. So Saturn going into Pisces. 0 degrees there, the 9th of March. Again, March. So March is a crazy time with Mars will be coming out of retrograde. Jupiter will be moving back into Aries, I think it is, or back in it. Yeah, there's a lot going on in March. Oh, here we can just look at the chart and see. So we've got, look, Mars is out of retrograde there in Gemini. We've got Uranus is out of retrograde. We've got Venus in a home sign of Taurus. That's beautiful. Chiron's moved another degree. Jupiter's there in Aries again, so that's great. And everything's just direct, basically. There's no retrograde planets. So when we don't have any planets in retrograde, it's the time of action, of moving forward, of going after things, of making things happen. There's nothing holding us back or keeping us in the past or making us rethink or reevaluate or whatever, anything, basically. So yeah, that's really really cool. All right, so I think, oh yeah, so Saturn going into Pisces. There was something in particular I wanted to say, I thought I had the other day about it, and I'm probably not going to even remember it now. Saturn is the timekeeper, the time lord, and in Pisces, Pisces is like other realities in the future. So I think I had some thoughts around like us like jumping timelines in a way. So Saturn going, it wasn't quite that, but that's kind of coming to me now. Saturn going into Pisces could be like us jumping timelines. Us seeing time differently, time and space changing in some way because of Pisces being a energy that is like, it's mutable, it's watery, it's off with the fairies, it's super creative and just like fantasy like, and Saturn going into there, it's like time just disappears or escapes us. This is an escapism time, so time will be escaping us. We'll find it hard to be grounded and to be able to like build really good like physical structures necessarily. It's going to be more of a building spiritual structures and finding our spirituality and showing up to our spirituality and our higher self and showing up for God, possibly, or showing up for Saturn being the Time Lord too. Yeah, we'll lose a sense of time, I think. And there'll be timeline shifts. There was something else I was thinking of the other day. It could be just be pushing us into the future, into that Pisces energy, pushing us into a utopian world. Maybe it's that as well, pushing us towards a utopian world, a more spiritual, creative world. But also Saturn in Pisces could be more where we're lost in Saturn in Pisces is going to be a tricky one. How Saturn is going to deal with being in Pisces. Yeah. And I know Saturn's not afraid of the 12th house by any means, so it'll be interesting times anyway. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that with all that general stuff. I'm just going to quickly talk about the eclipses. I'll talk about them more when they come, but just to prepare, because we're in eclipse season now, so the energy's already started. It's already started manifesting. And we move into Scorpio season, then we hit the eclipses. So if I just go forward, need to go back to days. If I just go forward in the chart to the let me just see what date this eclipse was again. I've just posted about it on Instagram, but I've forgotten already. So we're looking at, and my phone's gonna die shortly, so sorry Instagram, but if you want more, you'll have to come over to YouTube or Twitch, and if you want a reading and me looking at your birth chart, you'll have to come over to YouTube or Twitch, basically. Links in my bio. I might leave Instagram there anyway, since I spoke a little bit about the eclipse already. Thanks for watching. If you were here on Instagram, I'm going to stay on Twitch and YouTube if you want to come over. Otherwise, if you watch the replay, make sure you follow all the things, whatever it is. Yeah, take care and thanks for being here and appreciate it. Oops. Oh. Paused. How do I stop it? I had this issue last time. Okay. All right, let's just leave. Oh, I'm gonna keep. We want to keep this. Let me just chuck my phone on charge. Just gonna message. Let me check that quickly. Just my mum. Okay, so all right, I'm going to disappear for a minute. 2 minutes, I'm going to go to the toilet and then I'll be back. Then we're going to look, I'm just going to quickly run through the eclipses. Like, it's going to be like 5 minutes, seriously. Each. We'll just talk about anyway, it'll be really quick, and then I'm going to look at birth charts, and we're going to I don't know, I feel like we should be looking at Mars. I don't know if I've already looked at Mars in your birth chart, tell me, and we won't look at that again, and we'll look at the eclipses maybe. I'm not, when I look at birth charts, it's not like when am I going to find love, it's not like that. We're looking at current energies and how they're affecting you now, so that you can get the most out of the current energies and the current situations and the growth that's available now, basically. So yeah, give me a couple of minutes, I'll be back, and then we'll get into it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I had some snacks because it's getting late and I haven't had lunch. Okay, so thanks, JJ. Okay, so eclipse season. So eclipses happen twice a year, every 6 months. We go through eclipse energy. It may affect you on a big scale, or it may affect you very slightly. They're always going to be doing something in the background in your life in some way, in some area of your life, depending where it hits in your chart, as usual. But the eclipses are, look at this energy too, just while we're looking at this chart for 24th of March 2023. Look at all these planets. Look at all these energies. Everything is on one side of the chart in Taurus and Aries. A little bit of Pisces there. Looking at Tim, but everything is on one side of the chart. As I said, March is going to be crazy. March 2023. And the build up. So the build up to March is going to be nuts. Oh, you're still here, Phil. Hello, Jim. How are you? March is wild. Yeah, that's crazy. I was most excited for March because Jupiter, look, Jupiter's at 17 degrees and that's going to be my Jupiter return. That's why I'm so excited for March, because I get to have my Jupiter return. And that only happens every 12 years. So Jupiter return is pretty exciting. Jupiter's our abundance. It's our expansion, our growth, our gifts, our luck. So having a Jupiter return is pretty cool. So I can't wait for that. I think my Jupiter is 17 degrees actually exact. So that's pretty spot on for my Jupiter return. Feeling lazy but doing fine, thank you. That's the Venus and Libra energy I was talking about later. It can make us feel a bit lazy. And yesterday I did nothing. I mean, I did heaps of posts on Instagram. If you're on my Instagram, you'll see all the posts I did yesterday. And stories and that. But apart from that, I just like relaxed around the whole day. I didn't even ride my bike, go for a walk like I normally would, nothing. So it was a relaxing day. So it's okay. Venus is in Libra. It's that 3 weeks we get once a year to be lazy and indulgent and enjoy the pleasurable things. It's not, we get it when it's in Taurus too, but it's a different sense of energy. I found like Libra is more about the beautiful things and the beauty. Now Taurus is more about the tangible things, the money. So like Libra is more about the pleasure. Taurus is more about the money. But Taurus is about the senses too. So Taurus does find pleasure, but through the senses. But it's not like that at all, but you can relate them like that in that way. You're still here watching Phil. Okay, thanks, Phil. Sporting events here has March madness, and I think it applies here too. Oh wow, yeah. Well, look at all the Aries energy. Aries is sports and competition, and fighting energy, that sort of thing. So yeah. Venus is Libra dominant for me over double any other placement with its aspects. Oh whoa, okay. I wish I could say what you just said to my boss. Don't we all, Jim? That would be and that like we could say it, but the fact that they would understand it and accept it, that's another thing. That's hilarious. Aries, yes, fiery. Yeah, fiery, passionate, that warrior energy. Yeah. So that's cool. But yeah, look at that energy with all that energy in that one side of the chart, and all we have on the other side is the south node, which is always going to be opposite because it's opposite the north node, which is over there in Taurus. And then we have like Ceres down here. If you're wondering what that other thing is on the chart, which is an asteroid. So I don't really talk about asteroids in that much because I haven't done a lot of study into them. I mean, I know the basics, but and I think that they're good to look at in natal chart readings more personally in that. But generally, we're talking about collective, unless there's something specifically on it and happening, and I feel drawn to it, I don't necessarily talk much about it. As I said, I don't have the deepest understanding of like the asteroids necessarily either. And I have been studying astrology for a long time. Like I've been actually studying it from a course. So I've been learning it for like 8 or 9 years. 8 or 9 years learning it, but actually studying it from a course 7 years. So, okay. You're gonna lurk, Zenwave. Okay, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Alrighty, so yeah, so the eclipses bring in life-changing energy. So the Leo King says it's fate train season or whatever. It's the fate train eclipses, so it's like bringing fated things. It's eclipsing things in and out of our life. Hey Yosh, what's up? Are you hungry as usual? Eclipsing things in and out of our life that are part of our destiny. So the North and South Node are the future and the past. So the South Node is the past, what we're releasing, letting go of, leaving behind. It's our past karma. The North Node is our future, our destiny, what we're moving towards, what we're learning, we're integrating in this life. The future karma for us, basically. So the eclipses, again, happen twice a year and whatnot, but they are in different signs. Every 18 months they change signs, and every 19 years they return to the same spot. So every 19 months every 19 years they return back to the same spot. They're a 19-year cycle. So every 9 years, 8.5, 9 years, they're in the opposite sign. And we're feeling that opposite energy then. So at the moment, the nodes have another I feel like saying 6 months, but I'm not sure if that's quite right. In Aries and in Taurus and Scorpio still. So the North Node being in Taurus, I won't focus too much on that because I'll talk about I'll just talk about the first eclipse quickly, and then I'll talk about the rest of it later on. But so the first eclipse coming up is a solar eclipse, and the solar eclipse is when the sun will be in Scorpio. So let's just find that chart, the solar eclipse chart coming up on the 21st. I'm going back weeks. Hang on. Here we go. Whoops. So the 8th of November is the lunar eclipse in Taurus. So in May, we had eclipses in a lunar eclipse in Scorpio and a solar eclipse in Taurus. So those energies have been manifesting over this 6-month period, especially that Scorpio energy of the lunar energy, which is about releasing and letting go of fear, of trauma, of other people's resources and money, us relying on outside sources for things, us being stuck in fear and in trauma and in the past and in worry and in being out of control. So us being out of our power and not in our power and not in control and things like that, basically. I had so much good fortune, lucky things happened to me September 27, 29. I don't know what it was in the sky, but it must have been grand. Felt like a Sag. Oh, do you have Discord, JJ, or Instagram, whichever one? If you send me your birth details, actually we can look now if you want me to look at your chart next anyway. That's right. But I actually put a post on Instagram saying if anyone knows a time in their life when something either good or could be something bad happened, send me the time and send me your birth details, and we'll look it up, and then we'll see what planets, what was affecting it at the time, so that we can. Oh, you joined the Discord, cool. So we can see. Oh, gosh, there's hair all over my face now. Gosh, see what was affecting you at that time and what the soul growth was, what the lessons were, what the universe was like trying to, or the astrology, the planets, the sky was trying to show us or teach us, or whatever it was that was bringing that energy into our life. Oh gosh, there's no room on my desk. I'm sorry, sweetie. I've got too much stuff everywhere. I've got too many books. So that May lunar eclipse was all about that releasing and letting go. Now we've got the solar eclipse in Scorpio coming up. Let's just move back to that. Back to days. We've got the 21st. Did I say it? I thought it might have been around the 21st. Where is that moon? The moon is there. There we go. 24 degrees. Um, 138, 158, 2, 12, 3 degrees, 2 degrees, no, so how did it go so far then? 2 degrees, so 25th of October or 24th, depending where you are in the world, it will be a solar eclipse there in Scorpio. Now, it's not a total, it's a partial, because we can see that the south node is here at 13 degrees and the Scorpio sun and moon are down here at 2 degrees. Now, I don't know if it's within 5 degrees that it's considered a total eclipse, total solar eclipse, but this is a partial because it won't fully cover the sun. The sun won't fully go behind that energy, that dark energy. Yeah. So, which doesn't mean it's any less powerful or whatever necessarily. It's just what we're seeing basically, or our perspective from the earth. So, this eclipse, lunar eclipse, and its solar eclipse energy, is a new moon energy because the moon and sun are together. And so it's about renewals and new beginnings and fresh starts and all that. And it's solar energy. So it's bringing new things into our life because it's the sun. Eclipses are bringing like destined things into our life, destined people, events, situations, destined energy. And Venus is there, you can see here too. So look, 2 degrees, they're all here together. Venus, the sun, and the moon. And that's beautiful for this solar eclipse. It's bringing in destined things with our relationships, with our finances, with our values and our self-worth. Destined, fated things coming into our life, and depending what area of your life, depending on where that Scorpio energy is in your chart. So this is helping us to, opportunities, new beginnings around relationships and money and finances, and us being in our power and in control with those things, and us being having more intimacy in our relationships, and having more depth and connection, and more of a, so this could bring in relationships for people that are of a soul purpose, that are soulful relationships, that are fated. That sort of thing can be coming in, or anything to do with money and finances that is fated, that is part of your soul purpose or something like that, the solar energy there. So this is super, super, super powerful energy coming up for us. If you can gauge any of that, like, it's huge. So in that opposition of that node too, so it's not quite opposite the it's not opposite the new and full moon, but if you look across, we've got the north node up there in Taurus with Uranus, so they are conjunct. So whenever the north node, Uranus is involved, it's things that are unexpected, things that are all of a sudden, that we didn't plan on, that shake and stir things up, that liberate us, that set us free in some way, and shake us out of our comfort zone. And Uranus is still important because it's with the node, and the nodes are a part of this eclipse energy. Also, you know, it's important to see what else is going on at the time in the chart, because it's going to play into the energies as well. So we've got that Uranus and that Saturn energy in that square. So they're still in, in that square energy. So we're feeling that intensity between the bigger, higher picture humanitarian things, people, and that restrictive energy, that square, that hard lesson with our finances and our worth and possessions, and our how we earn our money, how we use our resources, what's available to us, all that sort of thing. So it's where we can feel restricted, I guess, in our money and finances and in our resources and in our self-worth and confidence. It's creating that restriction in some way. And Uranus is wanting us to break free and get out of our comfort zones to change that. What's Jupiter doing? So that's an inconjunct quincunx. So Jupiter's in a quincunx too, which is some interesting energy. That could be around our identity and who we are is holding us back in some way, I think. And we need to let that go, the old parts of ourselves, so that we can move forward into the destiny in the future. So that's about it. So I'll just, the ruler of that eclipse too is Mars. So it's important to know where Mars is and what Mars is doing. And Mars is in that square with Neptune still. So where we're, our action and our motivation and our drive is restricted because of us not seeing things clearly, being caught up in illusions, not being in reality. Deceiving ourselves or being deceived in some way, that sort of stuff. Okay, so that's it. All right, I'm going to leave it there so we can look at some charts. And yeah, I'll be here to go through it all with you over the next 5 months. We'll be going through it together. Everyone will be feeling it. Everyone will be going through something in some area of their life. Don't ever think you're alone. Don't ever think that you're the only one going through something. Everyone is in some degree. Some people show it more than others. Some people don't, because we all have different planetary energies, which we can see in astrology and we can see in birth charts. And everyone is affected in different ways depending on your birth chart and depending on what's happening and how it's affecting it. So if